Sports car racing is unique. In addition to commitment and execution, it demands teamwork. The machine, the crew, and multiple drivers must perform in harmony to achieve success and avoid disaster. When they do, a tapestry woven of people, technology, and power produces speed. This is the TUDOR United Sports Car Championship. After Chevrolet and Ford-powered coupes claimed the first 3 prototype races of 2014, Ed Brown, Johannes van Overbeek, and their Extreme Speed Motorsports team put an open cockpit Honda in victory lane for the first time. Meanwhile, in Grand Touring, giants Ferrari and Porsche topped the points. But coming up fast is Audi, the car to beat last month in California, until the Flying Lizard entry ran out of gas with the checkers in sight. Now the series moves to America's home of the automobile, Detroit, and beautiful Belle Park for a street course showdown with a reputation for plenty of fireworks. Sports car action is up next on Fox Sports 1. What better backdrop could there be for America's Sports Car Championship than the skyline of America's Motor City? Our location is the Raceway at Belle Park in the Detroit River between Motown and Windsor, Canada. And our race is the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic presented by Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. A big crowd on hand after heavy rain earlier in the week. We've had beautiful blue skies and 70-degree temperatures. Perfect conditions for what should be a spectacular street fight. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha, along with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader. Each of these guys a Detroit street fighter in his racing heyday. Now, this hour and 40-minute battle for the TUDOR Series prototype and GT Daytona classes may not resonate the way a race at Daytona or Sebring might, but Calvin, every team in the pit lane will tell you this is a very important race for them.
Bob, this is a huge day for the manufacturers based here in Detroit, and for the past 2 years, GM have dominated this race weekend. They swept both GT and prototype classes 2 years in a row, but today could be a totally different story. Remember now, Ford have a much bigger stake in the game. In the offseason, they made a huge move, luring Chip Ganassi Racing to the Blue Oval, and right now, the reason they make that investment is for days like this. They want to see Ford on top of the podium. And Dorsey, you were a Ford factory driver back in the Trans Am heyday. Talk about the intensity of this race weekend.
Well, the pressure here is immense. There's no doubt about it. I mean, as a race car driver, the ultimate goal is to become a factory-back driver. With that, you are the gunfighter. You're expected to win every race. The problem is everybody else is shooting at you as well. Then you come here to this racetrack, and you realize that the eyes of the corporate world, Detroit across the river, they're all here, and they're all expecting you to win. It's big time.
No question. 100 minutes of all-out racing between concrete barriers with big performance gaps between the cars, and based on what we saw in qualifying, it's going to be spectacular. Let's get down to the pit lane now, and Brian Till.
You guys talk about the dominance of General Motors here at Detroit. Well, one more time, General Motors and Corvette dominant in qualifying. It took till the very last lap for Richard Westbrook to put his car on the pole. Interesting that it is not the championship-leading Corvette. They have not won a race so far this season, but they will start from the pole. Qualifying was incredibly exciting just until the race, because last year at the race, the excitement started right off the bat. Gustavo Jachmann trying to get past Memo Rojas. Going through the tight left-hand corner, they make contact, and the resulting impact was huge. Plenty of excitement yet to come today. Gustavo Jachmann very aggressive at the last round, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Expect the same thing from him today, but this is what's important to note. Whenever you come to a street circuit, it's always a gamble. The gamble last year really hurt the Ganassi team. 0 points were scored after that impact, and it affected the championship. Like I said, always a gamble when you come to a street circuit. You just don't want to walk out the biggest loser, Bob.
No question about that, Brian. And speaking of the championship, here is how the driver standings lay out after 4 events. Our winners at Daytona, Joao Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi for Action Express up top. Then 2-time winners at Sebring and Long Beach, Scott Pruitt and Memo Rojas. The Taylor brothers, Jordan and Ricky, still looking for their first victory of the year. And then our most recent race champions, Ed Brown and Johannes van Overbeek. A great mix of cars coming and a great race in store. Beauty and the Beast in action here at the Raceway at Belle Park. Stand by for more for the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic.
It's all about fuel now.
Big save on fuel for your last lap. We haven't seen any fuel pressure drop.
And here is Pompelli. From this point on,
Yeah,
he
he's
could
good.
coast.
He's on the downhill.
Oh, he's out.
Oh, he's out.
Negative, I'm coasting.
Oh, my.
Oh, here comes Cameron and
Here
Haase.
come the leaders, buddy. I'm sorry, half a lap.
Wow, that's the lead of the motor race. Dave Cameron will win for BMW and Turner Motorsports. Unbelievable. What a finish to our most recent round of the GT category. Those were the GT Le Mans factory cars at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Racers would tell you you're going to lose more than you ever win in motorsports, so it's the ability to bounce back from an adversity like that one is key. Spencer Pumpelly in the Flying Lizard Audi came back from that heartbreak, and they are on pole for today's race. Here's a look at the points among GT Daytona drivers. Daytona winners Belle and Sweedler up top, tied with John Potter and Andy Lally. And then Nelson Canache Jr. and Spencer Pumpelly, who, as I mentioned, will start from pole. Down to the pit lane now, and Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, we're quickly approaching that midpoint in this TUDOR championship. And when you look at the front of the GTD grid, those leaders in this championship really nowhere to be seen. In fact, Magnus Racing, typically a team of picture consistency, they had problems yesterday in qualifying. They are starting dead last. I spoke with Andy Lally earlier. He said no problems mechanically with that car. They just got the setup completely wrong, hoping for better things today. And as for the 555 Ferrari, an electrical problem sidelined them in the first practice, and then debris damaged the car in the second practice. That team feeling a bit wounded. And speaking of wounded, if you watched the Indy 500 last weekend, you saw Townsend Bell right at the front of that field late in the race, and there was a possible toe link failure that sent him hard into the wall. That was over a 60G hit. Townsend feeling a bit battered today, still some lower back pain, but more concerned about bruising around his knees. That might slow him down during the driver change. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that car during pit stops. Bob?
That's right, Townsend finished 25th in the Indianapolis 500. Another driver in this field, James Davison in the Aston Martin from TRG AMR, finished 16th in the 500. Here's a look at some of the onboards you'll be seeing today. We have more than a dozen of them for you. And don't forget, if you want to climb behind the wheel with some of your favorite drivers for the ultimate two-screen experience, go to foxsports.com/motor. There you'll find onboard video streams of today's TUDOR United Sports Car Championship Series race. Hard to overemphasize how important it is to get a good start in a 100-minute sprint street race.
It's the point on the racetrack where the race steward has asked them to start to pair up for this initial start, Dorsey, and this opening lap will be critical, trying to get through it clean. We saw what happened last year with Rojas and Yackerman.
That turn one is so slippery on this outlap, this first lap. No room for error.
Off comes the Chevrolet C7 convertible Stingray pace car, and we are underway.
Go.
Michael Valiente takes that pole-winning car to the front. Here comes the number 5 Action Express. Gets inside Scott Sharp.
Through turns 1 and 2, onto the long 2,100-foot straightaway that leads to heavy braking for turn 3 and a good passing spot.
Look at the battle here. We see the GT field a little bit further in the background, but a nice clean start for the 3 Chevys make that. Jordan Taylor up to 3rd, Yackerman up to 4th.
Saw Jordan Taylor making an aggressive move back there on the outside. I didn't think he'd make it, but he made it stick. Here come the GT boys.
There we see the pole-winning Audi, driven by Nelson Canache here in the opening laps. Will be Spencer Pumpelly, who will close it out for him here today.
Gives an idea right here on board to show you how tight this racetrack is. No margin of error.
Great start for Paltala there in the Turner Motorsport Z4, qualified 4th by Dan Cameron. He's up to 2nd early.
Markus Paltala of Finland in his first visit, and there's a big number of drivers making their first ever visit here to the Raceway at Belle Isle Park.
And it's a shocker, Dorsey, when you hit these bumps for the first time.
Yeah, this is a rough racetrack. You'll see these cars jumping up and down off the racetrack. It makes it really hard on the driver. The kickback on the steering wheel is really hard on your wrists.
Tricky part of the racetrack here around the fountain turns 7 through 11. You have to be patient here. Sometimes when we get to the traffic situation between the prototypes and the GTDs, that's where the prototypes have to be patient.
Now remember, on most racetracks, a spin out is just a spin out. On a street course like this, a spin is almost always a wreck. And it usually puts you in a situation where you're headed the wrong way and can't get turned around.
Look at the 2 Mazda prototypes there, then the lead GT car. Nelson Canache doing a great job. Then there's Ben Keating in that Viper. Dodge Viper SRT.
really waiting for that thing to come alive. Jerome Bleekemolen put the car on the front row here yesterday. The car is looking awfully strong this weekend. They'd love to win here in the Motor City.
The only U.S. brand represented in this big GT Daytona field.
And they're rebounding from that awful fire that they had in the opening hour at Sebring, remember. Just massive damage to that car. They've rebounded nicely, competed at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca with good effect. And right now they're running in the top 3.
You'll see this racetrack has a compromise of asphalt and concrete. There's some of these corners at the apex, at the center of the corner, are concrete for wear and tear, and then they go back on these asphalt pieces. All the grip levels are different. You have to really be cautious when you enter these corners.
It's a short weekend too. They didn't go on the racetrack till about 9:30 yesterday morning, so there's a lot of work that has to be done by the engineers in fine-tuning and making the right decisions for this race. Here we see a move down to the inside. That's the 27 car. Brett Sandberg behind the wheel, filling in for Patrick Dempsey this weekend in a battle there with the 81, the Tully's machine.
That's for 24th in the overall running order, 14th in the GT Daytona class. A beautiful day, a great racetrack, a big crowd. What more could you ask? We'll take a break and return with more of the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic.
This is a place where racing is the mecca of the United States. This is the automotive capital of the world.
Patience is always a factor on a street circuit.
One mistake at this place and you're around.
This is fantastic racing. Look at this.
Side by side they hit.
Just a little moment's indiscretion right there. It's all it took. Well, that was pretty dirty right there.
Actually, it looked like he got a little bit of help there from another prototype.
Racing belongs here in Detroit.
There have been some great events over the years since the Raceway at Belle Park opened in 1992. Let's have a look at the racetrack.
Well, Belle Isle Racetrack is, of course, in the middle of the island, which is in the Detroit River, separating the United States from Canada. It is a 2.3-mile circuit with 13 corners, temporary, very rough, as we said. Passing is difficult, but as we hear in the future, this is going to get paved and tuned up quite a bit. It's going to be a really good racetrack.
It was 2.1 miles when it first opened, but then that stretch between turns 2 and 3 was lengthened. Now 2.35 miles, officially 13 corners. I'll call it 14. Here's our Tudor keys to victory.
Well, all early caution. This could be a conundrum for the race engineers because, you know, the prototypes can do about 50-minute runs, so they should be able to do it on one stop. So if you get that early caution, you're still going to have to pit again. What do you do? Probably if you've got poor track position, you'll take it. If you're up front, you'll stay out. You can do it on one stop on fuel, but tires will then be the question mark. And new dance partners this weekend, pairing the prototypes with the GTDs. We haven't seen that since Sebring, which was many months ago.
Spread out a lot more than I would have thought, guys, to be honest with you. You got a pack of 3 cars and a little gap back to Yakima.
But watch Yakima, because remember in qualifying yesterday, Dial put his car on the front row of P2 machine, but it took many laps for those tires to come in. It's a lighter weight car, over 300 pounds lighter. It takes a while to generate the tire temperature to get the grip. We see Yakima now closing in on the DP-based machinery.
It's a very good point, Calvin. This is a low grip surface, and with the tire temperature being such a key factor, the P2 cars take about 3 laps longer. We saw 9 and 10 laps before we saw really fast laps coming out of these cars. Shows you right through around the carousel part, what I used to call the carousel. Quick right-hander here, and this is an acceleration run.
Just maintenance throttle through there. You just have to be really patient. If you push it too much, you will lose the rear end of these cars. These are really tricky corners. High speed, you clip that inside curve, it'll fire into the outside wall. Valiente doing a great job here in the pole sitting. Spirit of Daytona, number 90, qualified by his teammate, the Brit, Richard Westbrook. But Fittipaldi keeping the pressure on him.
Most of these curbs you don't want to run up on. You see a lot of racetracks where guys use the curb. Well, these are very steep, abrasive curbs, and you don't want to get on top of them. Most of them, anyway.
Action Express have a great history here. They won the race in 2012, finished second last year, so they know what it takes to get the car set up right here on these streets, Bob.
Right on board with Yakima here. He comes back, trying to make that ground up. The tire's starting to come in. He's getting the feel for the car.
This is the corner last year where he and Rojas got into it on the opening lap. Already clearing GTD traffic, so traffic from this point on will be a constant factor.
As I spoke with the Gustavo Jacobman just before the race, and what he was hoping to do at the start was to try to leap in front of the number 5 and maybe even in front of Westbrook. He felt like he needed to gain positions right off the bat, and it's exactly what you and Dorsey are talking about, Calvin. It's about tire pressures. He felt like if he could get in front, he could hold the guys off. If he dropped back, he knew it would take a while before he had a car that he could fight with. In fact, I was listening to Extreme Speed Motorsports just minutes ago, and still Scott Sharp's tires are not quite up to the pressure that they want just yet.
Yeah, we saw that with the ESM machine at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Sharpie really couldn't make any progress in the early going, and he's dropped back a couple of spots here early as well.
See how close they get to those concrete walls. This is the final corner, unnumbered on the track map, but obviously a change of direction. And this terrific sweep at high speed through to the arena section, right across from the pit lane, right in front of packed grandstands.
As unpleasant as it is, to go fast around a street course, you have to run as close as humanly possible to the walls. You got to get every inch of racetrack that's out there available. If you leave a foot for safety, well, you're not going to go very quick.
This is where the racetrack surface really changes. Not much grip, talking to the drivers through this particular section. When you turn off that straightaway at turn 3, all the way to turn 6, low grip section of the track.
Well, Calvin, you said Scott Sharp dropping back a couple spots. Memo Rojas moving up a couple spots. Started 8th today, moving up to 6th right now. Right now, working the bars in that car, trying to get that 01 to come alive. They had problems in qualifying yesterday. On the second lap, Memo Rojas exiting turn 2, clipped the wall with the right front, knocked the dive planes off, knocked the toe out, and then had to spend the rest of the time in qualifying with a hurt car. So that's why they qualified so bad for this race, but they definitely think they have a car to hopefully fight for the win.
You hear Cross talking about working the bars in the car. He's talking about front and rear sway bars or anti-roll bars, and you can stiffen the front or loosen the front and the back as well and get that car to come to you a little bit.
Currently, Memo Rojas running 6th ahead of the Ford EcoBoost powered similar Riley chassis of John Pugh, 6th and 7th. There's Nelson Canache Jr. in the pole sitting and currently class leading Audi R8 LM.
What's cool here, we've got 5 different brands represented in the first 5 positions in GT right now.
Oh, the 01 heads for pit lane.
This could be strategy here.
A race this short, any unnecessary pit time.
And there may be a clutch issue. You've got to do 10 minutes to get driver points here. That's the mandatory number in prototype 35 in GTD. I don't think it would be strategy this early, Dawes.
Not at that time frame. Clutch is a bad situation. It's not anything you easily fix.
We're going to pull the engine cover off and have a look.
Wow. This team, so dominant in other places, just not able to get it done here in Detroit. Chris.
Oh, Bob, we can see that the car's up in the air, the team taking off the rear direct. Time to take a look at what's going on. He just asked Scott Pruitt if it was a clutch issue. He said he still doesn't know, trying to listen to the team and figure out what is going on with this car. But Chip Ganassi was just up on the stand. He got off looking really dejected. Did not want to see his car out of the race so early on.
And again, this is one of Ford's 2 bullets in their gun here today, and it's hard to recover from this one.
Now looking all over the engine compartment. A lot of puzzled looks down in the Ganassi pits. Another break coming up. There are your class leaders. We'll return to Detroit in a moment. Welcome back to Detroit and the Raceway at Belle Isle Park. Here's a look at our Honda news and notes. John Bishop, co-founder of IMSA many years ago, will be inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, based right here in Detroit on August 6th, and I will have the privilege of presenting him for induction. Tim Keen, the highly effective team manager formerly with Ganassi Racing, has been named team manager at the Delta Wing project, the Delta Wing not racing in the prototype class this weekend.
Tomorrow, it's a big day at Le Mans, the test day. 2 weeks prior to the start of the 24 Hours of Le Mans that you watch live here on Fox. And here's a list of the drivers competing in the race today who will actually be making the flight overnight to Paris, jumping on that train down to Le Mans, and at least getting some seat time in the second session at Le Savre.
As Calvin mentioned, you will see the 24 Hours of Le Mans, all 24 hours on the Fox Sports family of networks, beginning Saturday, June 14th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. Be sure to join us. Now there's the Ganassi car moving very slowly as it comes out of the pits.
Try and get 10 minutes for Scott Pruitt. Remember, both drivers have to do 10 minutes, otherwise these guys would be split in points. This is critical for Pruitt, that car will last 10 more minutes today.
I don't listen. When we were on board there with it, that whine you heard, that was the clutch slipping. He was barely able to get rolling.
Chris Neville.
Yeah, the team working really hard to try and get that clutch fixed on the 01 car. Scott Pruitt now behind the wheel. Mamo, you were in the car when the problem came around. What was going on with that clutch pedal?
Yeah, it was pretty early on. You know, I reported on on lap 2, the gearbox was making a strange noise, and suddenly I started to feel the clutch slipping. Car started to get away from me, and I noticed my acceleration was bad because it was slipping. We tried to keep going, see how long it would last, but obviously it didn't last long.
Was the team able to bleed the clutch at all or get things fixed?
No, I don't think it's a matter of bleeding it. I think the clutch is broken or something. I don't think it's gonna be fixed.
Well, it doesn't sound good, and Scott Pruitt needs a minimum of 10 minutes in that car.
Well, here's the deal. If the clutch wouldn't disengage, you could still drive it. That's not a problem. But with the clutch not being able to be engaged, in other words, it's slipping every time Scott puts the throttle on at all, it just spins. He won't make it back to the pits more than likely.
And that's going to be a tough one, because I hate to see drivers going for a championship paired together get split in points. I mean, both drivers individually do 10 minutes each to get points here today, and Scott maybe will not get that. We'll have to wait and see. Look at this battle. This is the lead. Valiente getting a little bit stuffed up in traffic. George Taylor and Fittipaldi right there, and Jakoman's now back in the picture as well.
That was a great pass. That's the way you have to do things. You set a guy up, you trap him in traffic, you do whatever you have to do, and then you make it stick by putting the car in a position where he can't do anything about it.
Jordan Taylor looking for his third victory here on the streets of Detroit. He's got a run on Valiente. I don't think it's going to happen in turn 1. He made a move on Fittipaldi a couple of laps ago, exiting here, getting good momentum down towards turn 3. But Valiente looks like his car is working really well, Dawes.
Yeah, it is. And in a way, you got to catch somebody off. You got to make somebody by surprise. Watch here. This is what happens. Split in traffic. They go around a car, one on each side.
160 miles an hour down into the brake zone here, and you're bleeding that speed all the way down to about 55 at apex. And then Fittipaldi had a gaggle of GT traffic right at the apex. Couldn't go anywhere.
Great opportunistic driving. Watch the black car. He's, well, side by side with the red and white one.
Further back in the pack there, you can see it. Fittipaldi protected the inside line, but suddenly GTD traffic was in his way.
That's what you have to do. You have to read this racetrack. You have to read all the cars around it. You have to anticipate what's going to happen, and you have to make things happen, and that's exactly what we just saw.
Now keep in mind, the prototypes and the GT Daytona cars are at opposite ends of the speed spectrum among the 4 classes in competition in the TUDOR United Sports Car Championship. Only the prototypes and GTD cars are here this weekend, so you're going to get tremendous speed gaps, and that traffic is going to be more important than ever.
As we get later in the race, what's going to be important is the ability to launch these cars and not spin those rear tires. These corners in particular, where the cars are right now, you really are in second gear, and you're really on the throttle really hard. You start spinning the tires up. You spin your tires, the guy behind you doesn't. Guess what happens? You're passed in an instant.
Here we see the first of the P2 configuration machinery right there. There's Jakoman, there's Sharp, then there's the leader, Kanachi Jr. in that Audi for Flying Lizard. What a job they've done transferring. They've been long-time Porsche runners. Now they've got an Audi, and they're doing a brilliant job.
2 of them in the field. That's the 35, Seth Nyman, the team owner, and then his man, Nelson Canache, the class leader.
They've just really found the grip level in this Audi to make it work. I mean, Pompelli, 2 poles in a row. That is really hard to do. This category, you can run your fast guy, you can run your pro guy in qualifying. You don't have to start him with the rules this year. So it is a real shootout in qualifying these days, Dorsey.
Yeah, we loved qualifying the other day. Went down to the last lap, and I mean, every lap they were clicking off. Somebody else would go to the front, somebody else would go to the front. It's really, really worth seeing.
Now, this C4 has been having some problems. In the opening practice session yesterday, they kept having the right rear wheel come loose, and they had to do a scramble to the Rahal shop. Rahal Lederman Lanigan team is based over in Columbus. They went over to there and got some different hubs, different threaded hub to try and ease that situation. They're really concerned about it. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out here today. So the right rear was coming loose on these guys during a practice run.
On board with Ben Keating, the 33 Dodge Viper started on the front row, now runs 3rd in class. Brian?
More American muscle out in GTD, and they would love to see that Dodge Viper finish on the podium. Jerome Blinkmolen This team has come back from so much adversity. We think back to Sebring with the big fire, and now you told me you didn't think this car was going to be that fast, but you put it on the front row. What did you guys find for qualifying? What do you have for the race?
Well, I think anyway they built a great car, and it's coming together. You know, it's all in the details. It's very close at the top in this category. So I think now we've got the car to work, and Ben's running great. So hopefully we can keep it up.
The car better suited for a short, tight circuit like the street circuit here at Belle Isle?
Yeah, we have a great car. It's the best car in the braking out of all GTD cars. It's great in the corners. Just on the straights, they gave us not so much power. So we're quite slow there, but we have two strong long straights here. So there we lose a bit. Otherwise, it's good.
Ben Keating having a great run right now. He'd like to see that ViperExchange.com Dodge Viper up front.
Problems now for the number 31 prototype, the Whelen car. Boris said.
As Boris said, out. There's a lot of smoke around that car. You see whispering coming on. Take a look. Here's Boris at the end of the straightaway. He's not trying to turn. He's going straight.
He senses the problem.
I think he blew up or something.
Yeah, he's got a fire at the back.
Yeah, I think he had a terminal failure back there, and
it's a team that has made the transition from the GT category over to the prototypes this year.
He knew he was in trouble and did the right thing there.
Discretion is often the better part of valor. There's the 31 in the background in the runoff area as the race continues here at the Raceway at Belle Isle Park. We'll take a break and return. Stay with us. Back to the action here at the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic. This is a replay moments ago of the pass for the lead as Jordan Taylor goes by the 90.
Going through traffic, Dorsey, and Jordan just squeezed it right down to the inside. Heavy braking here, 150, 160 miles an hour, and Jordan just forced the issue. Michael couldn't close it. They rubbed, they trade paint. Fittipaldi right there as well.
Fittipaldi almost made it, and they see one of the winglets off one of the cars go flying by. A lot of debris out there right now, guys. I'd be worried about punctures. We've seen punctures throughout the weekend, and I'm seeing a lot of carbon shards flying around.
And Dorsey, for a few laps there, Jordan Taylor sitting on the back of the 90 car, really watching what Michael Valiente was doing and kind of assessing him and telling the team, boy, Michael's having a hard time getting off the corners. So really figuring out where he had a better car and then making his move.
Well, one thing that the 90 team is struggling a bit with is that Michael Valiente and his teammate Richard Westbrook drive the cars a little bit different. Michael is a left foot braker, which means he uses the left foot braking to take the car into the corner. He can kill some understeer in the car by using that left foot braking. Westy floats the speed through, so he needs a lot more grip on that front end to typically drive it. So Ricky Cameron, their engineer, is really trying to find the sweet spot where Michael can drive it, and then Westbrook is going to finish. He needs a fast car that suits him at the end of this race. That may be a factor in what they're feeling right now.
I tell you, another part of that whole equation, we see a spin and a crash with the Momo 30. It's been in the wall. Another part of that equation, Calvin, is the setup on the differential on the rear. If you're a left foot braker, you've got it locked the whole way. If you're floating it in, it's in open position as you get to the corner. This is a pretty big impact, guys. Look at the skid marks as they hit the wall.
That's Enrique Cisneros, the number 30 car. That's turn 6. Critical corner.
We're 29 minutes in, Bob, for these GTD drivers to score points here today, and for the car to score points, the silver rated driver has to do a minimum drive time of 35 minutes. So we're shy of that right now. This is a critical point in the race.
Earlier that lap, we had an incident, too, that wasn't near as bad as that Porsche incident we're looking at.
Look behind. Ben Keating looks to the inside of Putnam, who he's trying to put a lap down. Bit aggressive there. I mean, I think he should have waited as early in the race. You could say, yeah, I've got a faster car, but Charlie had already committed to apex.
And he needs to learn to lock the brakes up when the car's spun out. As you see, he caused more damage from backing into the wall. Look at the front of this Porsche. It's leaving bits of debris. I was talking about that before. This race there, that's what I'm talking about.
Tire explode?
No, that was just all the inner fender panel.
The body.
But that's all carbon fiber, and that's stuff like razor blades laying out there. We've seen, another spin. This is a Ferrari 64.
Same corner, I think.
In the same place, right?
Yeah, you know,
Coming off turn 6.
in a preliminary race leading up to this one, there was an accident
right
in that corner,
there's
and there
more
you
right
see
now.
the fluid.
When you
There's
hit
oil
these-
there,
we
yeah.
had tremendous rainfall here on Tuesday and Wednesday, and these tire bundles
the
are just full
tires.
of water.
Yep.
So when there's a crash, suddenly it explodes those tires, and it rolls out on the racetrack and caught out the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari there.
See if you can get that car turned around.
Tough situation, because if anyone takes avoiding action, they're going to
Yeah.
try and do it on a slick racetrack as well. This is where the corner workers are so handy. There'll be yellow flags being waved on the entry to this corner to warn the drivers on this blind spot there is a car in trouble.
It's Chris Cumming. Okay, he's got the fire. Oh, now you're
Not
in
a
the
good
blind
spot.
spot.
Not a
Here.
good spot.
That's what I was talking about, guys. On a street course, when you spin out, you end up always usually 180 looking at traffic, and you can't turn these cars back around. It's really a scary situation.
And this is the widest part of the racetrack.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
5 lanes wide there.
But these cars don't have a lot of turning
Very
radius.
good job, Chris. Very good job.
Now
Here's
the
the
30
damage.
cars in the pit.
It's a shame because Kuba Jamaziak just came off a win at the Monaco Porsche Cup race just a week ago, so he was feeling his oats coming in here and is looking forward to another street race, who shares the car with Enrique. So
think he's
Momo
got-
just not catching a lot of breaks this year. They were involved in that big crash down in turn 1 at Sebring. Another team that's had a rebound from adversity this year, Chris.
Well, Calvin, like you said, we're getting into that window of pit stops. This being a short race, we're only going to see one pit stop, a lot like Long Beach. And talking with these teams, kind of seeing 3 different strategies for these pit stops with tire changes. Some teams saying we're not seeing a lot of tire wear, so we might not be changing tires at all. That means outlaps after that pit stop will be very fast. Other teams saying they might go with scuffs, meaning tires that have already had 1 heat cycle, or tires that have stickers, so no heat cycles at all. And that's interesting because at Long Beach, we saw the Ganassi group go out on scuffs, and they were able on that outlap to get around Joao Barbosa in the 5 car because he was on stickers.
Well, we're now under our first full course caution while the 30 heads for the paddock area for further repairs. Now we understand from race control it is to try to dry up that damp area in turn 6.
Well, remember what we said in one of our keys to the race, early caution. Do you take this opportunity to pit? Be interested to see the strategies play out, Bob.
There's the slick, about to be attended to by the track crew. Great opportunity for a break. We'll be back to Detroit after this. Back in Detroit, too early to call our Audi move of the race? We don't think so. Watch the black car of Jordan Taylor, 2-time defending Belle Isle race winner, looking for his 3rd, bouncing his way past our pole sitter Richard Westbrook, and moving his Corvette DP into the lead.
Talk about the pressure, Dorsey, of winning here for one of the big 3. Well, Chevy's run 1, 2, 3 right now, but Jordan Taylor wants his 3rd victory.
He has been the most aggressive and the most successful of any car out there. And you have to make a little bit of luck here. Look at this, guys. They got Scott Pruitt back out. Pruitt's back out on the racetrack in the 0-1. Now, I don't know if they fixed the clutch, but they're going to do any. No, it's spinning like that. Nah, he's spinning the center right out of it.
But he's just trying to collect laps, Dorsey.
He's trying
right?
to get time is what he needs.
Yeah, and time
laps.
under yellow, a lap under yellow is a longer piece of time than
Yes.
under green.
Now
So a lap here may be 2.5, 3 minutes.
They can pull that thing behind the wall and pull the back of it off, put a clutch in it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do that if they can't. Now, they're running the risk right now, however, of breaking down on track. On this racetrack, if you break down out there and you're not in the right place, you might be there for the rest of the event. Then they couldn't fix the car. So, I mean,
Great point. Yeah, they talked about this with the drivers in the drivers meeting this morning. If you get stranded, if you go drivers left, your day is done. If you go to the right, there's only 1 or 2 spots on this racetrack where you can physically, with the infrastructure of this racetrack, get it back to the paddock area. So tough place to have a problem.
On board the number 70, Mazda Sky Active diesel-powered prototype.
That's Tom Long behind the wheel. What a fantastic win he had at last week at Lime Rock, Bob, in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Championship.
That's right, co-driving with injured Marine Staff Sergeant Liam Dwyer. They were winners on Memorial Day weekend. What more could you ask for a wounded veteran living the dream of driving a race car?
On board here with some of the GTD machines. I believe they will make their pit stop. They're past the 35-minute mark of this race, which was the minimum drive time. to score points. So I think there'll be a lot of frantic activity for the prototypes. I think we're going to see quite a few cars come. Maybe not everyone, but I don't think you can afford to give up this opportunity to get the fuel tank full, because if you then have another pit stop, that second pit stop will be so much shorter.
Now we're hearing rumors that the race leading number 10.
Come. Everyone's coming.
Maybe clutch problems for Jordan Taylor and his brother Ricky.
We're hearing he's having a hard time keeping it in gear. That would not necessarily have to be a clutch, however.
This is where you really need to have this tire change, driver change well tuned, because you can leapfrog a bunch of positions here when everyone comes in together.
And they're going to take the back of that one off. You know they will.
Richard Westbrook climbing behind the wheel of the number 90. It's funny, earlier in the weekend he said, I hate this racetrack, but he goes incredibly quick here. He'll try to get this 90 back on track, see if they can gain some positions in the pit. Chris?
Ryan, the brothers Taylor. Very quick pit stop on the 10 car. Ricky Taylor behind the wheel, just left side rubber on that car. Bob.
Well, I'm sure Ricky Taylor, he's not had the best of moments here at Detroit, exiting the pits. They were leading here a couple of years ago when he had probably the worst moment of his racing career, when he hit the pit wall that you can just see. Just got loose on the dusty surface there and crashed the race car. So he'll be happy to get this one out of the way. Great stop again. That T10 team is really executing.
Interesting call with left side tires only to get a quick pit stop and get the track position. What you were talking about, Calvin, it's an embarrassing moment, but it can happen. Watch this.
All fired up and ready to go.
That was just
going for 3 wins straight. Here we see another angle of it. And I think the reason why they took 2 tires, Dorsey, was because it wasn't a full fuel load. There we see the disappointment from his dad, Wayne Taylor. See the car grabbing, didn't see any further action that day, but they only put 2 tires on because you weren't putting a full fuel load on, so the time on pit lane wants to be minimized here today.
And the radio transmissions on that occasion were so poignant as the crew was saying, okay, are the wheels straight? Can you get it back? And all he could say was, we're done. Speaking of which, here's the 01.
Now they'll take this back and maybe try to throw a clutch in it and bring it back out later to get the time.
Curious to know what the time is that Scott Pruitt has logged so far. You've got to do 10 minutes. Yes. The time starts when you leave pit lane. Sitting on pit lane doesn't count, even if you're in the car. It's from when you leave pit lane to when you get back to the pit lane entrance, then the clock stops. So sitting there trying to fix it on pit lane no longer works with your drive time.
This track has not been kind to the Ganassi crew. 3rd 2 years ago, but last year that heavy crash at the start of the race, as Dorsey pointed out earlier, really cost them the championship.
Here comes all the GTD field. This will be fascinating here. See what sort of strategy guys pull on this one. Sometimes when you're doing those practice driver changes, you think, oh, I got all the time in the world. It's going to take 25 seconds for fuel. Right now, it's not. It's going to be about 12 to 15 seconds of fuel. Pressure is on.
45 pulls into place. Let's go to Brian Till.
23 is in. Ian James climbing out. Mario Feuerbacher climbing in. This Alex Job Racing, heart of racing. Porsche has been so strong. They had a disappointment at Mazda Raceway when they had to pit for fuel late in the going, but they are trying to charge to the front and make amends here in Detroit. Chris?
Ryan, also the GTD leader, the 45, Spencer Pompelli, who got his 2nd pole, but getting behind the wheel. This team putting 4 fresh Continental tires, stickers on that car. I checked in with Spencer right before he got in the car. He said he's hearing that the car is perfect. A little bit further down pit lane, your points leader, the 44, Andy Lally getting behind the wheel of that car, and the 555, Townsend Belle climbing across that wall, limping, heavily limping into that Ferrari, but behind the wheel quickly.
Speaking of wheels,
one has got bumped there. Someone's exited their pit box. They've clipped a wheel there. Hopefully it's not from a car that's heading out on the racetrack. I would have to think that just got clipped versus fell off a race car, but didn't look like the perfect pit stop for the Flying Lizard boys. Bit of a delay getting that door closed. Have to see how they stack up track position-wise.
We'll see if the stewards have something to say about that loose wheel bouncing down the pit lane. Another break coming up. There's the world-famous Renaissance Center here in Detroit. Back at Belle Isle Park, hello Canada, on the far side of the Detroit River. 4 boats moving up and down. Beautiful spot for a street fight. Chevrolet SportsCar Classic, presented by Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers. There you see our lineup right now on track. Ricky Taylor has taken over for brother Jordan, and they lead Joao Barbosa and Michael Valiente in a 1-2-3 for Chevy Corvette DPs. Then the first of the open-top P2 Hondas in the hands of Scott Sharp and Extreme Speed Motorsports. Olivier Pla running fifth in the Nissan-powered Morgan P2 chassis.
Green, 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 green.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Green flag is back in the air, and we are back underway.
Pressure on now. Ricky Taylor leads the field back to green. He's followed by Barbosa and Richard Westbrook in the 90 car. He's the man who put the car on pole here yesterday.
The question becomes really, will the Taylor gearbox hold up? His brother said it kept kicking out of gear, thinking a clutch problem. I think it's probably not going to be clutch related.
Olivier Pla there looks to the inside of Ryan Dial, who's taken over the driving duties of the number one. He gets a little bit sideways. Pla looks to the inside in turn 4.
Nice job, nice opportunity. Seized that moment.
Two Japanese manufacturers going at it here. Nissan versus HPD.
If you like mechanical diversity, you are watching the right race in both the prototype and GT Daytona class.
That's what it takes, man. I was saying before, all you do is spin up that tire for a minute, launch, and the car doesn't go forward, and you are sitting duck.
Chevy 1-2-3 right now. Prompt for the 73 car. Kevin Esra had a great qualifying run in this car here yesterday, but that's not what he's looking for. Damage to the rear wing. His day is pretty much done.
Trying to get to a safe area, that should do it.
I suspect the left side of that looks a lot worse than the side we're looking at.
That's a shame. This qualify on the second row of the grid in the GTD category, and major damage to that car.
Yeah, left side I can see. Left front suspension was completely knocked off. I'm not sure about the rear, but I suspect that one's done, like you said, Cal.
10 car has come alive. Ricky Taylor got a nice gap right now over Barbosa, who's having to defend from Richard Westbrook. Westbrook is frustrated. He wants a win this year.
Question is that gearbox. I mean, can it hold up? Long way to go. This is a rough race.
Oh, look at that! Barbosa's all over the curb. Watch Westy. He'll try and set him up. No, he gets balked as well. That GTD traffic, Dorsey, is tough at certain parts of this track.
Yeah, playing this traffic, man, you got to look way ahead. You got to anticipate what everybody's going to do. It's tough.
Here comes Pla, the 42 and the 90 car. They've had some battles this year with both co-drivers.
Earlier we saw the number 33 get together with one of the Audis. Ben Keating in the Dodge Viper. They have now been assessed a stop plus 55 second. Or was it a separate incident?
We're hearing of it. Oh, here we go.
Jerome Bleekemolen has taken over for Ben Keating in the Viper.
Look at this
I don't see
battle.
anything untoward there. It was the contact with Charlie Putman in the Audi. Stop plus 55. That'll give Jerome Bleekemolen a whole lot more to do. Back down to pit lane.
Well, it was Jordan Taylor taking the 10 car from 4th to 1st in the opening stanza of this race. But Jordan, right before that pit stop, we thought we heard some radio communication. You talking to the team, possibly clutch or transmission issues. Anything wrong with the 10 car?
No, I think it was just a precaution coming into the pits. I mean, when you're leading, you want to make sure you don't have any issues. So we were just making a little precaution on the in-lap. So just push the clutch in to make sure we could get neutral coming into the box, and all is good.
Well, this track is known to be tough on passing, but you worked your way to the front. Talk us through that pass on the 90 car.
Yeah, well, I got 2 of them on the start, the 1 or the 2 car and the 42, and then I got the 5 and the 90 in traffic. But the 90, I don't know, the alongside of him, he just turned into me for no reason, but kind of bit himself in the butt by knocking off his dive plan. So I think we have a strong car. We weakened their car a little bit on his mistake, but hopefully we can keep the Corvette up front.
Yeah, these two brothers looking strong, looking for their first win together.
Well, the mullet's on its way to Paris tonight.
Out come the flag for the second time, full course.
Uh-oh. Another problem with the Porsche.
Car into the tire wall.
Behind the wheel.
That's a pretty big hit, too. Look how he's pushed those tires back. Once again, the water comes out of the tires.
And if there's any camber to the road leading on at the race surface itself, it just leaks its way on there and creates another problem.
Went in backwards. It didn't do much harm to the car, really. It doesn't look like, anyway. Might have got the exhaust. That's the most vulnerable part.
And there's the number 10 of Ricky Taylor. He is our Dodge Viper SRT halfway leader. Boy, the first half of this race went down quickly.
Yeah.
But that's what we expected here at the Raceway at Belle Isle Park. Another break coming up while we're under yellow, and we'll be back to green before you know it. Stay with us. Earlier, we talked about Staff Sergeant Liam Dwyer racing with a prosthetic left leg with the Mazda crew. An over-aggressive move meant Sergeant Dwyer wound up in the gravel trap for good. But then, just last week, Memorial Day weekend, co-driving with Tom Long, Staff Sergeant Dwyer won at Lime Rock Park. Congratulations to him and to the Freedom Autosport team.
Service members use the term Alive Day, the day you face down certain death and somehow survive. My Alive Day was May 22nd, 2011, when an IED exploded under me in Afghanistan. I've had around 50 surgeries, and I was told I would never walk again. But I didn't listen. I taught myself to drive with my new leg, then started racing. Mazda recruited me in 2012. Race drivers always strive to be one with the car. Mazda designed the car with me, and my leg attaches directly to the clutch. So I'm literally one with the car. I've already done so much more than anyone believed. Mazda saw my potential and helped me unleash it. I've never felt more alive or more free than when I'm racing. I'm living my dream. I'm Marine Staff Sergeant Liam Dwyer, and I drive for Freedom Autosports, Mazda race team.
Well, Staff Sergeant Dwyer will be back in action at Virginia International later on in the TUDOR United Sports Car Championship and the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Good luck to him there. And I think he perfectly encapsulated what every racing driver would tell you when you ask them why they do it. I never felt more free or alive.
Such a cool story. Everyone felt that one. To see that happen on Memorial Day weekend was so special, really cool.
Let's find out what it was like inside the team with Brian.
Well, certainly it was a special story at Lime Rock a week ago, Tom. Here when we're in Detroit, we're talking about prototypes this weekend, but let's go back. We just heard Liam tell his story. How special was it to be a part of that victory on Memorial Day at Lime Rock?
It was an incredible feeling, Brian. I tell you, you know, there's a lot of memorable wins out there, but that ranked way up there. Just, you know, like you mentioned, that Liam's story and his inspiration is huge through the paddock and through the U.S. And it's just, it was really special that Freedom Autosport Mazda were able to put that together for him, and just couldn't be more excited to be a part of that and pull off a victory. It was pretty special.
Yeah, special is a word that keeps coming up. But speaking of special, you've been a part of this Mazda development here in the prototype category. That seems to be growing. Great gun still is Sylvain Tremblay, adding a lot of people to this team, and the product seems to be paying off.
It certainly is. The Speed Source Mazda guys work so hard week in, week out, every single day to get the program to where it is. And I'm just fortunate enough to be a part of it and be a co-driver to Sylvain on this program. And just excited where we're moving the program forward. Every time we go out, we're quicker, and we're making progress on our Sky Active diesel.
Headed in the right direction.
Thanks, Brian. No doubt about that. We'll take another break while they fix the tire wall after the accident that brought out our second full course caution here at the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic. Stay with us.
I think the 6 Hours of Glen is just another classic event. I mean, you got Daytona, Sebring, and Watkins Glen's right there with them.
I'm really looking forward to going to Watkins Glen. The cars are going to be wicked quick this year.
And don't forget, we got the championship on the line for all the teams and all the drivers. It's a big deal, and every point counts.
The NAC is, you know, the championship within our championship. You know, we go for all the bonus points we can get.
Realistically, you just got to be fast. I mean, you got to go out there, you got to unload, you got to have a clean race, and with a little bit of luck, you get to the finish line first.
They're talking about the Tequila Patron North American Endurance Cup, an awards program within the TUDOR United Sports Car Championship that honors the teams and drivers who do best over the 4 longest races of the year: Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, and Road America. There you see the teams currently leading in the 4 classes of competition. To Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, and let's also talk about the Drivers' Championship, and we can see Scott Pruitt in his street clothes. So obviously, the 01 car not coming back out on the racetrack. More importantly, did you get your 10 minutes so you get championship points today?
Got the 10 minutes, so this won't be the race that kept us from winning a championship yet again. I'm just disappointed. We've never had this happen before. Disappointed for Telcel and for Ford and the whole Ganassi operation. You know, we just don't have these kind of issues. We just don't. We haven't had them in the past. This is the first time for it. Hi to my family at home. And unfortunately, you know, coming to Detroit last year, getting taken out, and then coming to Detroit this year and falling out is just, I love coming here, but dang, it's been tough for us.
Yeah, you've got so much experience. Any idea why that clutch would fail?
We don't. You know, the car, you know, we were P1 this morning, and the car felt really good. We were excited about the race, even starting 8th. So it's just disappointing. The guys will get the car loaded up back to Indy, get it all ripped apart, and we'll find out first of the week.
Yeah, Detroit, not good for the Ganassi guys. Brian?
It's not good for the Ganassi guys, but the Spirit of Daytona Corvette's running strong. And Michael Valiente, you started the car. I was listening to Jordan Taylor a minute ago talk about the little mix-up that you guys had there. You saw it somewhat differently than he did.
I mean, I was able to pull out about a 1.5-second gap until then. And I got traffic at a really bad spot in 1 and 2, and both Fittipaldi and Taylor had a big run on me, and I blocked, and he threw it down the inside, and we were going to make contact no matter what. So, I mean, our cars have fenders. You make contact sometimes. We both carried on. Unfortunately, I dropped a spot or 2 there, but still in the race, and we'll see what we can do from here.
Corvette's still quick. Any damage to the car aerodynamically or anything like that for Richard?
The car was really quick. We set the fastest lap about by 3/10, so the car is quick. There was a little bit of damage because that contact did knock my right front, so I think the toes out a little bit, but I think Richard has a car that can get him to the front still.
Well, it's a street fight. That's what you keep saying, Bob, and now Richard has his hands full. Let's go back to Chris.
Well, Nelson Canache kept that Audi out front after Spencer Propelli put it on pole, and Nelson, that Audi real strong today. You worried about anybody behind you?
Yes, the BMW was really close, and I was trying to keep a good gap and always trying to take care of the rear tires. It's the main thing, keep the tires in good shape. By the end of the stint, I think I got the car in better shape and could do some gap on it. So I'm really happy with the car. The team is doing a great job and give us a great car.
Yeah, Flying Lizard looking very strong. Brian?
Gustavo Yakiman, the Yak Attack, as we call you, his nickname that he's earned here. You had told me you really wanted to be aggressive at the start, maybe pick up a position or 2. It just wasn't in the cards today. But what kind of car does Olivier have? Is he going to be able to get the tires up to temperature and get that fight on?
Well, see, I mean, it was tough to get some tire temperature in the, in the pace laps. I was able to do so very well at Long Beach and Laguna and be very aggressive, but Ricky did a really good job on that start, man. It was really impressive, and then throughout his run, making a lot of time on traffic, I was trying to keep up with them. It's just hard with our car, The DPs get really good drive out of the corners, and they're able to get there with the GTs. We accelerate very similar to the GTs, and they don't want to mess around with us because then they lose a lot of time. So it's very hard for us in the traffic, especially here with all the concrete. There's not much grip, and there's very little room for error.
Good to have Olivier Blaublack in the car with you this weekend.
Yeah, Oli's a great guy. He has a lot of experience with these cars. He knows exactly what the car needs whenever it's off, and it's really good to drive with him.
He says he likes street circuits as well, so keep an eye on the 42.
All right, thanks, guys. Here's a look at our Continental Tire race recap as we get set to go green once again. 2 leaders in class, 2 cautions. The second one about to end. 1 lead change. 6 cars out of the race. Pretty heavy attrition in the first half here in Detroit. If it's June, all eyes turn to Les Sarthe and to the greatest race for sports cars on the planet, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Its 82nd edition, and you will see it on Fox Sports. A titanic battle at the top as Porsche returns to the prototype ranks to take on the established powers from Toyota and Audi. Of course, all the other classes in action, a great GTLM field. Be sure to join us for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, flag to flag on the Fox Sports family of networks, beginning Saturday, June 14th, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. This is the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic presented by Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Round 5 for the prototypes, round 4 for the GT cars like this one. Tommy Dreese had the 18 Porsche 911 GTA up into the class lead because he was the last to stop.
Yeah, they decided to keep Tommy out, so good run for these guys, promoting the 22 Jump Street movie with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. It should be a lot of fun to watch, as you can see when it debuts there on June 13th.
Have about 30 minutes to go when we go green. In the meantime, let's go down to Chris Neville.
Well, Oswaldo Negri currently 6th, trying to carry the torch for Ford here today. But Mike, you guys, it sounds like you had some mechanical problems earlier.
Yeah, John Pugh had a great first stint, but for some reason we thought we lost boost, but we didn't. We actually had a fuel pressure problem. We fixed it. We were able to get back out. Oz went from the tail end of the car, the whole field, all the way through the GTs in 2 laps. Now we're kind of back where we would have been. We'll see what happens. He's doing a great job. The 4 Giga boost is actually very good.
You guys have had a tough year. How are you turning things around the second half?
You know, it has been a tough year. We've personally had a tough year compared to the last 10 years, but, you know, I just try to stay up on with everybody, keep everybody up, fix the problems, put new stuff in, continually attack it. We're not running from it. We're trying to make it better.
Yeah, if there's one guy who has the energy for it, it's definitely Mike Shank.
Had a lot of gearbox issues. Dorsey had a gearbox issue at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. That's why we saw Oz not up to speed at the end of that race. And in practice yesterday had a similar type issue. So they believe they've got to the root of the problem, but it certainly cost them a lot of track time.
There's a guy right there that never gives up. You know, Mike Shank and his group, I mean, he would just, like he says, I'll put more parts in it, I'll go back to work, I'll do whatever I got to do, but he does not have any quit in him.
See the points there in the respective categories, Bob. Just 1 point separating Ford from Chevy, but Chevy look like they're having a good day right now. Honda sit there 4 points back, and in GTD, tie at the top, Ferrari and Porsche, and Audi right there nipping at their heels. So could all change by the end of the day. We'll have to wait and see.
Those are the important points this weekend, running under the eyes of the big car maker bosses here in America's Motor City. New leader in the GTD class, Alessandro Balzan, the Ferrari 458 Italia.
And a quiet year for these guys. I mean, winning the championship last year, you thought they'd come into it this year. I mean, it's a new configuration, a blending of the different classes from ALMS and Grand Am into GTD. But I spoke to the team this week. They feel pretty bullish about this weekend. Thought it should be a good racetrack for this car. Has good balance, should be good on the tire degradation in terms of having good rubber and good grip at the end of this race. The whole field this weekend are performing on Continental tires because we don't have the GTLM category here racing, which is the only class in the TUDOR Championship that allows you to run different tire manufacturers. So wait and see how this one shakes out. Great pit stop by the Job guys, getting that 23 car up to second. That is excellent pit work today.
You know, the beginning of the year for this TUDOR Championship was really kind of strange. Some of the top teams that we expected to do really well, that team included, had niggling little problems that just plagued them. Not just one race, but, you know, 2 races, 3 races. Now it looks like everybody's got their feet under them. And the championship's going to get interesting as we go forward.
Tell you what, though, Dorsey, I'm getting antsy. I want this race to get going, and I think the drivers are probably feeling the same thing. We'll have to see how they perform when they get down to that brake zone for turn 3.
Watch that second place car. He's going to try to get a jump.
I think he's a little late on the button.
Green.
Well, that's a car that's a lap down right there. The 2 car is a lap down, so Ricky Taylor had a little...
he's got a buffer
there. He's got a wingman, so to speak. So the other cars have got to clear. This ESM car, which is the defending race winner from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, has got speed. It's not going to be easy.
And Ricky didn't mess up that start at all. He nailed that.
Got overback, passed by clear off the number 5.
Tough situation there. You see Barbosa. He doesn't want to let that 2 car back by him. He needs to get that space between he and the leader and try and chase him down. And here comes Westbrook.
Westy to the inside now. The next corner's to the right. If he can stay there, Westy's going to have... Nope, he's got it done.
Yeah, he pinches him, and this is where the DPs, the heavier car, they'll generate that tire temperature again. I think that's what we're seeing in these initial laps at the start and the restarts. They get up to speed quicker.
On board the number 1 with Ryan Dial. He, too, wants to make up some spots here.
This is a battle for position. He's trying to get around Olivier Panis. Here comes Negri. Mike Shank said he's got a car to work with.
They just popped right there. They got together. Negri split him.
He's going for it. He realized he's the sole bullet right now for Ford and that EcoBoost engine. And he wants to get to the front.
It's what I said before. We're in Detroit. This is a Ford car. It's not been running good. Somebody's got to carry the mail. Here goes Oz.
He's going to lay it on the line. This is going to be commitment 110% right now for the 26 minutes.
And you feel the daggers of Ford staring you right through the back. I guarantee you I've been in this position before.
Boy, look at that gap Ricky Taylor's been able to open while those behind him shuffle over positions.
Yeah, they sit second in the points, but they haven't had a win this year yet.
Oz is a guy that can make things happen, too. He's not afraid to be aggressive. He's not afraid to rub paint or fenders with anybody.
His next target will be Olivier Pla in the Morgan Nissan.
What a lap, 2 seconds quicker than the guys who were chasing him. They obviously had to deal with the 2 car during that lap after the restart, but great restart lap for Ricky Taylor. He is gone.
I will say one thing about the turbo car on this racetrack. It's a little bit tough, that car to drive, tougher than these V8 cars that have that torque coming off the corner. They got point and shoot, which is something that turbo's got a little bit of time.
See the debris there as Ricky came off of turn 6 there. This racetrack is pretty dirty. The sweepers have been out all morning. I was here early for the drivers meeting and the sweepers were working hard, but there just seems to be a lot of grit out there, a lot of little punches. There just seems to be a lot of glass and shard that remains here around this street circuit, and guys have been having some problems with that this weekend.
Well, the problem with the street circuit with the fencing, as you can see, is it's lined in concrete, then there's a fence behind it. The sweeper comes around, blows everything in the air, it comes right back down in the middle. There's nowhere for it to go.
Westbrook there settling in. Now we're on board with Ryan Dial. They haven't had much luck this year. Obviously, the sister car won at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. This car broke a gearbox. I spoke to Robin Hill, the team manager, yesterday about the problem. He said, we've broken bevel gears 4 times this year on this car. We've been running this same gearbox since 2006 with the HPD organization. We don't understand it.
Oh, here's a traffic jam.
Oh, look at this gaggle.
Oh, man, look at one behind it. This is, as I love to say, an angry little group right here. That group behind was about 7 cars strong, too.
Back up to the DP leaders. Actually, second place.
Yeah.
Ricky Taylor's gone, so you've got Barbosa, Westbrook, Pla, Negri, and Dial all running nose to tail.
Yeah, you got Van Overbeek there, still a lap down there in the 2, the first of those bright green and black Patron machines. Not sure. I mean, Michael Valiente said, I don't think the car is damaged. Westy will have something to go to the front, but he doesn't seem to be making the progress I expected here in his stint.
This is motorized mayhem. This is a war going on in GTD.
Look at the different marks involved. Ferraris, Vipers, Audis. Fantastic stuff.
Porsche, that's first through the field pretty much. They're all together.
And there's some tremendous finishing drivers. This may be, I hate to call it the lowest tier in the 4 categories in the championship. It's the slowest based on the technical specifications of the race car, but the closing drivers, the pros that are involved in this class, are some of the best sports car drivers in the business. This is going to be a sensational watch all season long. There you see Lee Keane in the WeatherTech car, looking for a way by Andy Lally.
Yeah, I mean, these are the best of the best you're looking at right here.
It's a battle for 6th and 7th.
Aston Martin involved in that.
Yep, the black car is the Aston Martin Vantage.
James Davison was competing at the Indy 500 just a week ago. Right behind him is Dane Cameron coming off that win at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
There you see that purple decal. Linda Turner, mother of Turner Motorsports owner Will Turner, who passed away barely a week ago.
She was such a great supporter of this race team. She would. I spoke to Will yesterday and gave him my condolences, and he said, it's weird, we just had a practice session. He said, I always got a text from my mom to see how things were going. I didn't get that today. I'll miss it.
Looks like the 44 is holding up the parade just a little bit. Remember, they had lots of problems in qualifying. John Potter and Andy Lally having trouble getting it to the front.
Talked to Kevin Buckler about the 007, the Aston Martin, and that car has gotten some help this weekend. A little bit larger restrictor, so it's going to breathe a little bit better, put out a little more horsepower. Also, they got to lower the ride height of the car. That helps the handling of it. So that Aston Martin has been really quick this weekend in the hands of Al Carter and James Davison.
Look at this battle is shaping up.
Now the 33 in front, Jeroen Bleekmolen, is a lap down.
Got a fast race car. The car behind him, Alessandro Balzan, has the lead. And right behind him, the pole sitter from yesterday, Spencer Pumpelly. He's gotten around Ian James there in the 23 car.
Jeroen wants to stay up there as far as he can, hope for a yellow and get back to the tail end. He's quick enough to be at the front of this group. He's just a lap down right now.
Quick correction, Ian James started the race. It's Mario Farnbacher, his teammate now, in that car right there, the number 23 car. Team Seattle Porsche.
The battle continues. Coming up on 20 minutes remaining here at the 100-minute Chevrolet Sports Car Classic presented by Detroit Chevy Dealers. From high above the stadium section here at the Raceway at Belle Isle Park, the action continues with just under 18 minutes remaining in the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic, presented by Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Bob Varsha, Calvin Fish, and Dorsey Schrader with you up top. Brian Till and Chris Neville down in the pit lane, and there's a beautiful view of downtown Detroit. We're more focused on the action. This is the GT Daytona class. Jeroen Bleekemolen keeping that Dodge Viper one lap down, but at the head of the field.
Well, what he's hoping for, if he can just hang on there, we've only got 17 minutes to go, but if we got a yellow, he would get a wave around, meaning he's trapped between his class leader and the pace car, so that's his only hope. He's got to somehow keep that 33 car in front of the Ferrari, but it's a slim shot at this point of the game. But there's not enough time on the board.
He really isn't holding anybody up, though. I mean, he's not a slow car. He's going quick enough.
The car's quick, and he's quick. He's one of the quickest GT drivers in the world.
In fact, a two-time winner of the Porsche Super Cup race on the streets of Monaco.
Now everybody behind him is yelling that, hey, get him out of the way. He's holding me up. I can't get by. Which is their job.
That's right. Good impression of you back in your...
That was me. What are you talking about?
That's cold. True, but cold.
Look at this little bit. Great job by Townsend Bell there. Talk about digging deep with injuries. Currently running fifth. I mean, they didn't come into the pit stops very far up the grid. So the AIM boys really did a tremendous job in getting that 555 Ferrari towards the front.
There's a good look at that beautiful matte black 007 Aston Martin Vantage.
Yeah, and they've sort of like spread the gap. Looks like Lally and Keane. See Cameron there in the background looking for a way by the Porsche, and I'm not sure if he has more speed or not, but certainly oh, look at this. Lally mistake. Keane to the inside. Here comes
Cameron's going to get them both. Watch this. He'll get both of them.
This is going to be dicey here.
That's
Keane
a block.
protects.
That's a block right there. I'd call that one.
That's okay, though. He kind of did it before he was alongside. I don't think they're going to call anything on that one. That's one of the... I know it's not your game, Dorsey, how you like to race, but I think they're going to let that one go.
They might. Cameron had the best car right there. He saw it happening.
He's had a couple of looks on this long 2,000-foot straightaway.
But look at Keane. He just goes to the inside, and he's perfectly entitled to do that.
That's moving back over to take the apex away. I talked to Paul Walter.
Oh, look at that. Keane up on the curb.
Competition director, and he said, I don't want them pulling back in front like that.
Well, I just see Lee Keane and Dane Cameron starting to pull away from that 44 car. Andy Lally, we know they had problems with the setup in that car in qualifying. Just checked in with that team, and it doesn't look like they've had much progress. So Andy Lally still struggling with a car that is just way too tight.
Now, the way they deal with it, Paul Walter and I had a big conversation about that because I have the same job in a different series, and he said he would observe that happening first. The second would be a furl black flag or a warning or a discussion with the team. And then if it happens again, then you're going to get something. So that would have been my first strike right there.
Guys, because this is a track made up of public roads, it's going to get quicker and quicker as the race goes on and the track rubbers in and the dust is blown away. As we look at Dane Cameron.
There's a replay. Lee Keane goes to the inside of Lally. Cameron just gets a tremendous run, rolls through the corner with speed. You see he has to hit the brakes there when Lee Keane comes over to the right, recognizing that the BMW had a lot more speed heading down into that final kink on the front straightaway.
It actually all was set up before that. As soon as he saw the Porsche move to the inside to try to go apex to apex, he made his move there, got on the throttle really hard, knowing they would be slow going side by side.
And credit all three drivers for dealing with it cleanly.
Spencer Pumpelly, he's looking antsy. He realizes time is running out. Remember, if you get another caution, maybe you may not get to see green flag action to the checkered flag. You can't afford to wait too long. Don't be overly aggressive. They're in the thick of this championship battle coming in here. Just a handful of points out of the lead, so don't throw it all away. But he wants to win. He's frustrated. They had the win awarded to them at the 24 Hours of Daytona and taken back 4 hours later. They also had one right in the cusp of their hand last week, or at the last round at Mazda Raceway Laguna, and lost it because they were 2 liters of fuel short.
Just checked in with Heart of Racing. Ian James had been in the number 23 Porsche for the opening stint. He said he dealt with a little bit of a loose car in the latter part of his stint than he was out there. But Mario Feirenbacher right now dealing with a car that has a tremendous amount of understeer, having a hard time keeping the car on line in the middle of the corner. That makes him have to overslow a little bit, and then it's difficult to get out. All the while, Christopher Haas in his Audi R8 from Paul Miller Racing beginning to close in.
Yeah, Haase looks good. I spoke to him yesterday after practice. He said, I don't really like this track, so I feel it's too dangerous. So you'll grow to love it, mate. It's just a big adjustment. He said, yeah, maybe you're right, but very impressive in the 48 cars now coming through our screenshot there. Driving that Audi, finished second on the road to Dane Cameron at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and Paul Miller Racing really starting to do great things with this Audi.
It is a bit dangerous because it's quite fast. You don't see it, but you know, this, as far as the street circuit goes, is extremely fast.
And he talked about turns 1 and 2, the corners they just floated through, as the ones that really got his attention.
Back with the overall leader, Ricky Taylor. Now
1.4 seconds in front, Bob, at the moment. Doing a great job, but he's got to pick his way through this traffic cleanly.
And Calvin, the team, really trying to help him out with that. About 2 laps ago, they told Ricky, hey, you're going to be catching GT traffic, and it is horrible traffic. So you're really going to have to try and be aggressive, work your way through, because you've got those cars in second, third, and fourth that are just less than 2 seconds behind you. And this is the kind of traffic that could really allow Barbosa to close that gap.
Now first up is the Aston Martin Vantage. Ricky gets by.
Boy, but not without almost
Barbosa's coming too. Look, there's only one car between them, and that of Townsend Bell right now in the Revo sponsored Ferrari.
This is the tightest part of the track.
This is where you have to be really super patient. It's hard to go around these GTD cars. They can't disappear on you. If you force the issue, you're going to have problems.
It's 2 90-degree corners, but they're so close in proximity that you turn into a 180, like a big old roundabout.
Down to the inside, clears the 48 machine of Haase.
Just as Barbosa gets by the traffic he was dealing with.
Superb performance by the Taylor.
Contact.
Audi clips the wall.
48 slams the wall. You can get off there like that behind another car and pick up a little push, and man, next thing you know,
well, you lose your sight line a little bit, Dorsey. When that faster traffic comes through, they kind of take away your normal vision through the corner, and you just miss your turning point a little bit.
That's what I call a wake-up call, because it probably didn't hurt the car, but the driver went, what the heck?
Blue flags waving frantically on this long straightaway.
Here comes Westy. Look at Westy there, deep on the brakes. That's always a problem when that GTD traffic thinks that they've just got one prototype inside them, and then there's another one.
Oh, man. This one's going to go all the way down to the end, about 10 minutes and 40 seconds from right now. Stand by. More from Detroit coming up. Back at the Raceway at Belle Isle Park and the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic presented by Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You ride with Ricky Taylor, hoping to carry both himself and his brother Jordan to their first victory of the years. And for Jordan Taylor, it would be his 3rd straight win here at Belle Isle.
Yeah, but Joao Barbosa is not that far back anymore, and he's running a faster lap time. At least he did that lap.
Look at the battle in GTD. It is tight. It is really tight. Spencer Pompelli all over the rear bumper of Alessandro Balzan. Bleekemolen continues to hang on to the lead lap. Looks like Lee Keen has broken away a little bit for Dane Cameron.
And you know, those guys are just yelling on the radio like crazy by Bleekemolen, but he's not doing anything wrong. He's doing what he has to do. He's got to stay where he's at and hope for a yellow. And the way these cars are running, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they get one.
I think the race steward may make a call on this pretty quickly, because they're a little bit closer than they have been, and with only 6 minutes on the board, I don't know what Bleekemolen and his team can really hope for at this stage, even with a yellow. It's not going to work for them. Just clear the way, let these guys go race. Because someone will return that favor to you one day. You don't want to mess up someone's race here, because it's a...
long memories.
Exactly.
There you see the gaps at the line.
Ferrari's able to use the curbing on the inside of turn 1. I don't really ever remember anything that could do that before. Just weight checks.
Ferrari has a little bit more top speed than the Audi right when Pompelli needs it. Under braking, he looks really good. And I tell you what, Farnbacher's not going away. Neither is Haase. And look at this, Townsend Bell. He's digging into that adrenaline right now. He's not 100% fit by a long ways. He walked into the paddock this weekend. I was standing with him, and he walked up to the race steward, Paul Walter, and he's showing him some of the medication he was on to make sure that it could be cleared by the doctors, that he can continue to use it this race weekend without falling afoul of any substance regulations.
Smart move on his part in today's society with racing and all of the things, sports in general, I should say.
Look at this, Ricky Taylor. Now we can see Barbosa's right there. Action Express have such a strong record here. And even though Ricky and Jordan drive for their father, they are paid, employed drivers by GM.
Barbosa half a second faster last 3 laps now. He is coming.
They are good around here. They've won here before, have Action Express.
And they have been quick all season long. Started the year with the win at the biggest of them all, the Rolex 24-hour race. Then they had 2 podium finishes, had a 4th place run at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and they have the championship lead.
Now he's
executing.
there. I mean, now it's there's no gap whatsoever.
He's going to be at a point
quicker
here with 5 minutes to go, Dorsey.
Yeah.
Ricky's probably going to start to adjust his lines a little bit and not leave that door open.
You got under 5 minutes. He's a half a second faster. Look at Jordan. He knows the heat's on his brother.
There's the mullet. He's going to be chewing on that in a minute.
Watch this. He's coming. Setting him up.
How long can you hold your breath?
It's tougher. He slides to the inside. He looks. Ricky puts the car in a nice position there, middle of the road. Tough to get past here.
Yeah,
so just focus forward. Just pick your line.
Lead car just needs to run a middle line. It's really, really tough to get around a guy here.
Look at this. Spencer's thinking about it. Where can I make the move? He realized that Ferrari seems to have a little bit more straightaway speed. Balzan protects. This is going to compromise his exit.
He's in the dirt. He's in the dirt.
Here comes Farnbacher.
Oh, Farnbacher underneath of the Porsche.
He got in the dirty part of the racetrack. He cannot defend.
Wow. Spencer Pumpelly was just looking at a way of setting up Balzan, and it cost him dearly. Here comes Haas to the inside.
In the second Audi, the black and white car. Oh,
man, he's in the dirt.
Again,
Same
wide.
thing.
I think he may just got marbles on his tires, Dorsey. He's got wide. He's got some debris on the tires. He's not got the grip right now. Problems for Pumpelly.
You get offline and you get that clag on your tires, you're a sitting duck. Now you can't do anything.
Meanwhile, up front, lapping traffic. Taylor and Barbosa continue their battle now with coming up on 3.5 minutes to go.
For Taylor, he's going to have to make Barbosa go to the outside. Try to force him into the clag. Try to get his tires messed up.
Just got to stay on line. Don't be looking in that mirror right as you're hitting your turning point. Just keep it clean, Ricky. Bring it home. This is a big moment for you. Winning here in Detroit, when you're one of the factory drivers, it doesn't get any bigger than that. He has to hang on.
Barbosa trying to set him up.
Car off turn 1.
Trying the brakes on the outside. He's got it. He's alongside. No, he can't do it.
Ricky ruins him over there. That's okay. I heard about something about a car off in turn 1.
This is awesome. I mean, Barbosa realized that time is running out, and he pushed it really hard there.
Wayne Taylor,
room to race here.
he may look calm. I guarantee he's not.
There's going to be 0 penalty on that one. He gave him room. That was just great racing between 2 guys going for a win.
There was no contact. There was no contact anywhere. GTD cars up here in front.
Oh, it was the 555 at Townsend Belle, we are now told, who's gone off. Oh, wow, look at this picture. There he is.
Oh, the 45 and a pig wreck.
as well. This is turn 1, turn 2 area.
Yeah, that's the tire wall you saw sticking out in the racetrack.
There's the Ferrari.
Pumpelly was backing up. Remember, he's struggling for grip. I wonder whether Townsend forced the issue on him. Just conjecture at this point, but Pumpelly had his hands on his hips like he was mad with someone.
We're going to be coming to the white when these guys get to the front straightaway.
Boy, oh boy, for that Flying Lizard team. Heartbreak again. Looking for a win here today. It's not going to be.
It doesn't look like that tire's down. It's just fender rub that's causing the smoke on the Ferrari.
They're letting them race.
Taylor's got a couple of car links on Barbosa.
No full course caution. This is the last lap, guys.
Looks like there was a bit of a mess down there in turn 1.
Be this lap plus one more. What can Barbosa pull out? He's probably home for some traffic right now. It looks clear up ahead.
Nothing yet. He's not close enough yet to be able to do anything.
Both these cars look to be working really, really well. This Corvette is really suited to these streets of Detroit.
Barbosa draws close again.
Yeah, you got to be within 2 or 3 inches to make this happen. Look at the front of Barbosa.
Little bobble there by Ricky. Little bobble by Ricky. Barbosa's got to run. He's got to run. He's going to the inside.
Oh, that was clean driving. He could have forced his hand right there. He didn't do it.
You could see it. Ricky had a little bobble right on the entry to turn 11, and that allowed Barbosa to get the better traction off. It's going to be yellow down here in this corner. We'll eliminate the
white flag.
One to
local
go.
yellow.
Look at this. Look at the carnage.
They're through it.
They're through clean. They hit no debris on that. Now we got traffic in front of them. They're going to have to deal with that.
Checker. Next time by is a checker.
Ricky Taylor is not going to open the door. He cannot afford to open the door. Barbosa goes to the outside. How is the traffic going to play a part in this? He's got to stack him up here at Apex. Here comes Barbosa. Barbosa to the inside.
And he has got him.
Oh, Taylor's in the wall.
Outside wall.
Great job.
Taylor did that kind of to himself. I'm not going to call that on Barbosa.
Clear by 5.
Now where's Westbrook? In third.
Wayne Taylor watching this. He cannot believe what he's just seeing.
Here comes Westbrook in the 90.
Second.
How bad is that car hurt?
Your left rear tire looks like it's dying.
Oh, there's problems for Barbosa.
Barbosa's got a
coming out of his car.
His car.
Left rear is exploding.
Taylor back in the lead. He's got a problem.
back.
Barbosa goes around. Can Westy sneak this one? Westy up to second.
What a final
Taylor's
lap.
got an injured car. He's hanging on.
This car's hurt. I think. Oh my gosh.
Westbrook can't believe his luck. He's just got to sit back here and try and time the run off the corner.
Get it
this
right
is
here.
it. He's got a run on him. Taylor goes to the inside.
Westbrook along the outside.
Taylor drives it to the inside. He's going to get loose here.
These guys were teammates last year. They're now going for a win on the streets of Detroit for Chevy.
And it's a run to the finish line now. It's close.
Here comes the checkered flag. Will it be Taylor? Can Westbrook get there? He's going to run out of time. Taylor will take the win over Westbrook in a battle of Corvette DPs.
What a finishing lap.
Look at the mess.
Heads up, Joel. You're shredding stuff everywhere. You might want to slow it down.
Wow. Meanwhile.
Oh, yeah. By the way, GT's still going.
And the Viper is still ahead of the class-leading Ferrari of Westphal and
leads.
Balzan.
That's the lead Ferrari, but look at him. He's getting stacked up here. Farnbacher hasn't given up on the win here yet. That silver Porsche is right there. Haas is up to third. Here comes Davison.
And they're going to have to race through the debris. There's stuff everywhere.
Debris.
Look at all the pieces bouncing down the straightaway.
2 more corners to go. And traffic ahead. Oh, stuff flying everywhere off the corner.
They
Look
can't
at
do
the
anything.
straightaway.
They've got to drive through it.
Balzan will take the victory.
Yeah, baby.
Farnbacher in second.
Well, it was ugly, but man,
wow.
What a race.
Jeff Westphal celebrates his teammate. What a performance. They have come alive. Ferrari back on top.
Wow. First win of 2014 for brothers Jordan and Ricky Taylor in their father's car. Third straight win for Jordan here in Detroit. We'll take a break. The post-race celebrations will begin. Welcome back to the Raceway at Belle Park. Don't forget the 24 Hours of Le Mans coming your way on Fox Sports beginning Saturday, June 14th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. Our next race on the TUDOR United Sports Car Championship will be the 6 Hours of the Glen, Sunday, June 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern, also on Fox Sports 1. Time to hear from our winners, beginning with Chris Neville.
Bob, big celebrations down here in Victory Lane. The brothers Taylor, 3 second places this year. They finally break through, get the win for Corvette in the Motor City. Ricky, I don't even know where to start on those last couple laps. It was contact with Barbosa. You thought it was gone, and then you had Westbrook all over you, but you came away.
Yeah, this win was Corvette. Kind of coming out to Jordan starting 5th, getting into the lead. That was the move of the race. And then our guys keeping us up front, right in GM and Chevy's backyard. Those last couple laps were pretty hairy. I'm sorry to the guys. I made it so scary, but I was pushing my hardest, and Barbosa was really fast. A couple more laps, and he would have been by. And I had a massive moment. I thought we were done after he put us in the wall, but just can't be happier for all the guys. And Jordan just did so great.
What did you think when Barbosa got by?
I was honestly waiting for a puncture because it was me to have a puncture because I hit the wall. And then I saw his tire going down on the back straight, and all I could think of was Richard's behind me, and he's got a nicer car than I do right now. His Corvette was a little fresher, but I just can't be happier. I even had to defend in the last 2 corners, which aren't overtaking places.
Well, these brothers finally get a share victory together. Brian?
For Richard Westbrook, I think you might have had the best seat or the scariest seat in the house there for those final laps. What did you think was going on in front of you, and how did you make sure that you weren't going to be a part of it?
Well, I wish I had been more of a part of it, actually, but no, from our point of view, I mean, it's great to be back on the podium, and but unfortunately after the restart we just can't get heat in our tyres, so I lost 6 seconds, and then last few laps could catch up with them, and then I got, like you said, a grandstand view of what was going on, and you know, I don't want to wish misfortune on anybody, but in that instance I was hoping for a bit more, but nearly got Ricky at the end, but no, I think, you know, in the end Ricky deserved it, and it's great to see if Chevy won too. It would have been nice to see 1, 2, 3, but it gets pretty hot around the streets of Detroit, and you get a bit greedy.
I would say it gets hot around the streets of Detroit. It was definitely heating up out on the racetrack. Bob?
All right, thanks very much, guys. Let's have a look at our race results brought to you by BMW.
Well, certainly a great result for the Taylor boys. They get the win here in the Motor City, and they get the championship lead along with it. Good bounce back for Westbrook and Valiente getting that podium run, and a P2 car finishes on the podium, so the parity seems to be there.
War back here in GT, no doubt about it. Westfall balls on for the first win of the year for them. That was great. You know, you look at what these guys went through, and I know we had such a thing going on up front, but man, this was a war back in GTD.
No question about it. Now let's hear from our GT Daytona class winner with Chris.
Yeah, Bob, I think we all would have expected the 63 to be in victory lane sooner this year, but they finally break through and get it, and that just tells you how tough GTD has been this year. Alessandro, you win in the Motor City.
Yeah, Scuderia Corsa is back. I'm very happy with this because the guy deserved this in Daytona and Sebring. We have a lot of problems. Sure, we don't have the fastest car out there, but today was fun. It was really hard because there is 10, 15 guys and car that can win. I want to thank Jeff Westphal because they make an amazing first part of the race, and also Scuderia Corsa because they give me a very good setup of the car. I can be a little bit faster, but you know, I was stuck with the blue flag guys. But I want to thank everybody, Ferrari, the sponsor, because it's a great day for us. We expect to be in top 5, top first, top 1 is good. It's very good, and now we have to push, always to push a lot, and I am very happy today.
Well, expected a top 5, and they get the win. Brian?
Well, Joao Barbosa standing in the shade now because I know it's hot in the car, and I'm sure it got really hot there the last couple of laps. Intense battles, we expect that in this series and on this street circuit, but those last couple of laps take us around.
I mean, I don't know if it was shown on TV. I think you guys do a great job showing what happened right there. Obviously, we had a really fast car. Action Express and the Corvette were really awesome. We struggled a little bit on the initial restarts, but once we got going after 5 laps, it was really good. And then I run Ricky down. I try overtaking maneuver. I mean, everything was tough but clean until that point. He tried to put me in the wall once, and I set him up perfectly for the last lap, and I got a good run. Outbreak on the outside, did a scissor move. I was on the inside, and he started bumping me on the side. He caused me a flat tire, you know. I thought we were supposed to give each other room. I was clearly ahead already. I had the move done, and unfortunately got a flat tire. But you know, if nothing happens, definitely tried to put me in the wall twice, but not the third time.
Well, disappointment, obviously, for Joao Barbosa and his entire Action Express team. We talk about this being a street fight, and it certainly was one today, Bob.
No question about that. Now, here's a look at the championship points. We expected changes, and we got them.
Well, certainly a shake-up there. Ricky Taylor and Jordan Taylor with the win. They now jump into the lead. Fittipaldi and Barbosa hanging on there. They did finish there in the 6th position here today. Pruitt and Rojas, not the day they were expecting, or Ford for that matter.
And in the GT standings,
you see Bill Sweetler and Townsend Bell up there. They still maintain lead up there. Cooper McNeil up into the 2nd place with Lee Keane. Potter and Lally, not the weekend they wanted, but they're hanging tough.
And thus begins the biggest month of sports car racing worldwide. The 24 Hours of Le Mans coming up beginning June 14th, followed later on by a trip to another great racetrack, Watkins Glen. Thanks for joining us. For Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till, and Chris Neville, I'm Bob Varsha. We'll see you from Le Mans in 2 weeks. Until then, so long from Detroit.